Esta es una entrevista sin censura.
Como se los había adelantado desde el inicio de este espacio, se encuentra en nuestros estudios el exgobernador de Illinois, Pat Quinn, a quien le agradezco mucho la deferencia, el detalle que venga a nuestros estudios, y le agradezco también a Javier Salas que haya hecho posible esta entrevista sin censura. ¿Cómo está?
Oh, bien.
Ocupado.
Well, today the governor of the state of Mexico is here in Chicago.
Yes, sir.
And when I was governor of Illinois, I invited him to come to Springfield to the mansion to stay overnight and to visit. And we celebrated the visit of Matias Romero, who came from Mexico back in the 1861 to meet Abraham Lincoln before Abraham Lincoln became president. And Benito Juarez, the president of Mexico, was the very first president and the very first country to congratulate Abraham Lincoln of Illinois to be elected president. And so we reenacted that visit of Matias Romero meeting Abraham Lincoln and bringing greetings from Benito Juarez.
You have always seemed very interested in the Latino culture and the Mexican community. Why is it? What has always driven that interest?
Well, I think the people. Anybody who goes to the Mexican Independence Parade sees how enthusiastic and friendly and good the people who are Mexican Americans and people from Mexico. Viva Mexico! Viva! And it's important that we understand on this planet Earth, we're all in this together. After the events last night in France,
correct,
we all have to work together and live together. And I'm a big believer in immigration reform. I signed the bill to allow people to get driver's license. I signed the bill for the Dreamers so they could get an opportunity to go to college.
Important this message in these times, in these particular times when we have a potential candidate in the Republican Party that talks about the opposite, of driving people out of this country, of not accepting the people that look different. What are your thoughts about this political environment?
I think it's very important that we defeat Trump in everything he stands for. Vicente, you did a documentary, a film about what happened many years ago in the 1930s. People were deported illegally. People who were Mexican American, just because they looked differently, were sent back to their country. That wasn't right. That was unconstitutional. It was un-American. And we cannot allow Donald Trump and the people supporting him to carry anything out like that. We've got to have immigration reform in America that is fair to all, to make sure that people get a decent shot to be Americans and citizens of this country.
Now that you're talking about the Forgotten Injustice, the documentary, I would like to thank you for the first time personally for standing up and backing this documentary. Probably you won't remember because you signed so many bills and so many laws when you're governor, but you signed a law after we launched this documentary to recognize and include this chapter in American history as part of public schools, public education. And I really thank you for that. And you have been mirrored by other states. And thank you for that.
Well, thank you for doing the documentary to tell us the truth. It's very important that people know what the truth is. And Javier Salas, who's with us today, was on my staff, and my brother, my youngest brother, teaches history. So to know American history and not know what happened in the 1930s, where many, many, many millions of people were sent away from America in an unconstitutional, illegal way. I want to thank you on behalf of all the people of our state and our country for doing the documentary.
Even though we were talking about it yesterday here in this radio program, even though many are not 100% convinced by Hillary Clinton that this is not about Hillary anymore. It's about our country.
Indeed.
And do you really think that it's such a threat, Donald Trump? Do you think it's such a bad situation if he gets elected?
Yes, we cannot allow that. That's why it's very, very important that people listening register to vote and vote on November 8th. You know, when I was governor, I signed a bill to allow people to register to vote online. You can do it through the internet, to register to make sure you're eligible to vote. And then I signed a bill that on election day, you can register to vote on election day. So you can come to vote. November 8th is a very important date in American history. We've got to make sure that we stop Trump. And I want to say one more thing. You know, November 8th, that's the election day. But many, many years ago, in Mexico, there was a brave priest, Father Hidalgo, who said, we are going to have independence. And he lost his life. But El Grito, the cry, to make sure we had the cry of freedom, that's what we celebrate on the night of September 15th, to make sure that people know that there were courageous people came before us who fought for freedom and liberty, and we've got to stop Trump so he can't take away anyone's freedom.
Before I forget, I would like to recognize Javier Sala's leadership also, even though we were opponents when we were on the air, when he was on the air, and we were working for different stations, but he proposed to you, and you came through about putting the lights with the colors of Mexico on the buildings in downtown, and that's something that we miss. Since you left office, we haven't seen that again.
It breaks my heart. You know, Javier had the idea of all the big buildings in downtown Chicago having the colors of the flag of Mexico, and Sears Tower, now it's Willis Tower, and the Wrigley Building, they were all lit up, and we were down at Millennium Park, you know, and we were celebrating, you know, the Council General came and he rang the bell, the cry of freedom. It was really inspiring with thousands of people there. And whether you're in Harrison Park or anywhere else, it's important this year, right before the election in September, that we say the people of Mexico, the people of America, just like Matias Romero came to talk to Abraham Lincoln, we're all in this together, and we believe in immigration reform.
You talk about truth. And the truth is that we miss you as a governor. and this times,
I miss you.
In these times when we have a governor that is not necessarily willing to work for the working people, for the hardworking people of Illinois, we need to do something. What are your thoughts about the state of the state?
It's hard to watch. And, you know, it's like Illinois is on 4 flat tires. We're not moving forward. You know, we're really stuck. And, you know, there's all these important groups that serve the community with job training, with child care, with helping people who might need a helping hand with their health. And, you know, all those those programs have really been hurt by the cuts and the lack of a budget for so long under the guy who came after me. But I believe in going forward.
Is the state a mess?
Oh, $10 billion deficit is what they were talking about yesterday. $10 billion that isn't paid to pay for the schools and for the health care. You know, when I was governor of Illinois, I signed a bill, and it became law, that allowed more people to get health coverage for their health coverage. People who work hard, who are working and raising children. And we added 1 million people to health care in Illinois. And we still can do more. And it's important that we cover these important things: schools and education, healthcare, making sure people have a good job.
The rich and Republican governor of Illinois, Bruce Rauner, is an anti-immigrant?
Well, you know, you got to speak out against Trump. If you don't speak out and say that Trump is wrong and hurting people, Trump is moving America way, way back. We cannot allow that to happen.
Even the governor said that he will help Donald Trump. So well, that's something that we need to worry about.
Yeah, anybody who's helping Trump is hurting America, in my opinion, because our country, all of us, are immigrants. We have come here from other places, our parents, our grandparents, whatever the case might be. And it's important that we be a welcoming society. So when I signed the bill to allow people to get a driver's license, we had people from all over that came for that bill signing. And it's important to understand that we're in this together. Everybody in, nobody left out. I had a chance one time in 1974 to shake the hand of Cesar Chavez, a great American who served in the Navy and worked with farm workers. And, you know, he was always known for Si Si Puede, a very important movement that he started. But he also told me that night, February 19th of 1974, he said, "Juntos podemos," together we can. And that should be our motto as we go to the election, together we can.
What do you say to those that might be thinking, former Governor Pat Quinn is a sore loser, that's why he criticizes current governor, sitting governor Bruce Rauner?
Yeah, I try to avoid criticizing him personally. His policies I am opposed to. I think they've hurt people. But I also, as I just mentioned, Vicente, I believe in petition passing. And so I brought today a petition that I'm passing to help people in Chicago, where I live, have a consumer advocate, someone who will fight for them.
I was going that route.
There you go.
To discuss what's going on in Chicago, because even though you have been in Springfield for so many years, you must say something about what's going on in Chicago. And more than before getting into the petition, how do you see Chicago? What, you know, it's sad to see what's going on in Chicago. Education, crime. What the hell is going on in Chicago?
Yeah, this is our city, and we've got to make it better. And I was born in Chicago, in South Shore. I live on the west side of Chicago. I've been in every neighborhood of Chicago, and we've got to make sure that we, the people, take charge and take good care of our city. And you just mentioned about the schools. You mentioned about violence. You mentioned also we got to make sure people have jobs. You know, and we've got to honor the people who are working, who are raising kids, paying taxes. The property tax bill up here in Chicago this year, way higher. You know, we've got to take charge of our city, and that's what I'm organizing now.
If Bruce Rauner has a mess in Springfield, Rahm Emanuel has a mess in Chicago?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, the problems that have happened here in the city of Chicago, not only, well, especially since the last election, you know, the violence, nobody knew about the video for 400 days. That isn't right. The Freedom of Information Act should always be available to the people so they know the truth before the election, you know. Chuy Garcia and I have been friends for many, many years, and he is right now, as you know, working on a ordinance in Cook County for what's called earned sick leave. So if someone gets sick, that they don't lose a day's pay if they're working their job. And they have passed this in Massachusetts, for example. And I want to salute Chuy Garcia right now for what he's doing on the Cook County board to try and make sure there's fairness in the workplace to people who work hard.
And I salute you for taking this Take Charge Chicago to another level. We cannot allow Chicago to have another Mayor Daley type of administration. We cannot have Rahm Emanuel for many years, and that's my personal opinion. Can you tell us about this petition?
Yes.
Because I think it's important. It's literally giving people the power.
Indeed. See, that's a great thing about passing a petition. When I was at a lot of events and at the parades and such, and I asked people to sign the petition, and that's why I'm on the show today. The petition is to limit the term of the mayor of Chicago to no more than 2 terms. They call it term limits, and other cities in America have this. New York, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Houston. They have it for President of the United States. But in Chicago, there is no limit on how long the mayor can serve. We think there ought to be a referendum where people vote on making it two-term limit. And other cities have done this here in Illinois and elsewhere around the country. And I think it's quite important because if you have a mayor who's in too long, they tend to forget the people. They tend to think more about money and raising money than they do about the people of the city. So term limits are a good wake-up call from the voters that, you got 8 years, 2 terms to make a difference, but then it's time for someone else.
Estamos escuchando en vivo y en directo en nuestros estudios al ex gobernador de Illinois, Pat Quinn, hablando con nosotros sin censura de esta petición que está circulando en la ciudad de Chicago para imponerle con un referendo votado por los residentes ciudadanos de Chicago un límite a los años que pueda estar en el poder una persona ostentando el cargo de alcalde de Chicago. Y creo que es importante que ustedes se informen y desde mi perspectiva, mi opinión, apoyen esta idea de limitar a 2 mandatos que una persona pueda estar ostentando el cargo después de tener a los Daley y después de tener ya 2 términos a Rahm Emanuel. How people can support this effort, ex-governor, former governor?
Our website is takechargechicago.org.
Takechargechicago.org. Para la gente que nos está escuchando, www.takechargechicago.org.
Right, and our phone number is 773-999-2016.
Para la gente que no le agarre la onda a la computadora y quiera marcar el número de teléfono para apoyar esta petición, para imponer el límite a los años que estén en el poder los personajes en la alcaldía, 773-999 999
2016.
2016. 773-999-2016. Repito, 773-999-2016. Is it complicated? What does our people do our people have to do?
Simple. We need to get signatures on a petition. And so anyone who calls us or visits us on the website, we can send them a petition and they can sign it. And then maybe their family can sign it, or their friends or folks they could work with, whatever. And we need to get 100,000 signatures. 100,000 petition signatures. Now, I've done this before. We started a group a long time ago, a group that's still with us today. It's called the Citizen Utility Board. It fights for consumers against high utility rates.
Yes.
And we got that done by petition and referendum. Here's one of the original envelopes. I brought it today. It's 34 years old.
34 años y trae un sobrecito de aquella campaña. Está cansado de que suban las tarifas de la electricidad, del gas, y con estas peticiones es que logró el apoyo. Más de 100,000 firmas necesita el exgobernador Pat Quinn para que esto se convierta en una realidad. After the 100,000 signatures, is this what?
Well, see, we get the signatures. I have one of the petitions now. I'm about halfway through this one. 15 signatures on a petition. And then we file all 100,000 with the city clerk, and then it goes on the ballot for the people to vote on. And when the people vote yes for the term limit on the mayor, then that's the law. The mayor can't change it.
So 100,000 signatures is the key.
The key.
Governor, the mayor didn't want to sign the petition for obvious reasons. A few days ago.
No, we went to a parade. We had a young fellow. He had his petition in his clipboard. He went right up to the mayor and said, "How about signing a petition to put term limits on you?" And he kind of laughed at him and patted him on the back and sent him away. The mayor wouldn't sign. But the people are the ones who run the show, not anyone else.
I know you have to go and you don't have much time, but let me ask you, because I've been thinking about this question, and forgive me for my ignorance about laws. Can you run for mayor after being governor of the state?
Yeah, I can run for anything,
Are you interested? Is that the reason you are doing this?
Let me put it this way. I started passing petition 40
Governor,
years.
look at me to my eyes.
I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. Petition passing is in my blood. Matter of fact, a friend of mine said, you'll be in some nursing home someday passing petitions, okay? And so right now that's what I'm doing. In the future, we'll take a look at whatever's
But have
available.
you thought about it?
Well, I was governor, and, I think I can run any big enterprise. I did it for 6 years as governor of Illinois, and pretty tough time.
Let me tell you why I'm asking, because if you do run, I think you can be a great asset to Chicago. We miss you as a governor, even though you faced tough times when you were governor. I think you have seen always for the hardworking people.
Indeed.
And you have been hardworking. You have never turned away from me when I see you in the events. And so you know how detailed I am when I'm looking at people. I see your shoes. And your shoes, when you were governor, were always the shoes of someone walking the way.
Indeed. Yes.
And you're not the type of polished shoes, snobby type of politician. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry for for saying it
Thank
like
you.
that.
Gracias. Like for Father's Day, I got one of these things that counts how many steps you take, Fitbit. And yesterday was 13,000. Pretty good. Huh?
So to let you go, what do you think about the article in the Sun-Times that mentioned that even though you give us the impression that you are humble and hardworking, that you benefit from your political accounts, still full of money?
Well, I don't have that much money, but the money I have in my political account, I try to help volunteer organizations. For example, veterans, those who have answered the call to duty. Many Latino young men and women have answered the call to duty and volunteered for our military. Well, I try to provide, for their families.
So you're saying that money is not for your personal benefit, but rather to invest it?
Yeah, I told one of the reporters, we take kids to the ball game, we take military families and things like that. I give money to charity, and I did. I try to get involved in causes, helping candidates who I think are good candidates by supporting them. So, I have a political fund. I'm not going to get rid of it. I think it's important to use it for good purposes. We're all in this together, and I think it's important that we work hard for that.
I like Mayor Quinn. Think about it.
I like you, Vicente. I want to tell everybody, see the documentary. I'm going to look for it right now. Forgotten Injustice. It's about what happened in our country in the 1930s, and there was bad things that happened. We're not going to let them happen again.
We need to organize a screening of the film together.
Well, let's do it together. Yeah, I'd really like to do that.
Y a las personas que nos están escuchando les recomiendo que busquen la petición para imponer un límite a el poder en Chicago. Que hable el pueblo, que hablemos nosotros, que hablemos los que votemos, no que sigan corriendo la ciudad aquellos que tienen intereses personales, políticos y económicos. Thank you very much for being with us. I know you didn't understand what you were saying, but believe me, Javier was listening, and he knows that I'm behind this petition.
Thank you. Gracias. And remember what Cesar Chavez said a long time ago, not only si puede, but juntos podemos. Together we can.
El ex-gobernador de Illinois, Pat Quinn, quien, escúchelo bien, buscará ser alcalde de Chicago en algún momento, aquí en nuestros estudios en Sin Censura. Continuamos.
Las exclusivas se producen en Sin Censura con Vicente Serrano y después las ves y escuchas en todos lados.